Hello out there, everyone, and welcome to Visual Radio. It is July 26th, 2012, and today would have been Bobby Hebb's 74th birthday. Tonight, our guest is Gerry Beaudoin, a Berkeley teacher. You've seen him around the scene with Jay Giles, great guy, and we're going to talk to Gerry about his work. Let's see, I saw The Watch and Step Up Revolution on Tuesday. So I'll be writing my reviews tonight on them. Welcome to Visual Radio.
Hey, Joe, Gerry Beaudoin.
Gerry, we're honored to have you tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, so let's get right into it. You're playing the Regatta Bar on Saturday.
Yes, Saturday the 28th, 7:30 show. The Gerry Beaudoin Trio with special guest Gerard Beaudoin III, my son on vibes, and the great saxophonist Harry Allen.
Nice. You know Buzzy Linhart, the saxophone player? The vibe player?
No, I don't.
He wrote the song, You Got to Have Friends.
I know the song.
He played vibes, and he played with Jimi Hendrix way back when on the Driftin' song. But he was my guest last week. So when you said vibraphone, how long's your son been playing it?
Since probably the 5th grade.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's 24 years old now, and he plays. He's been playing professionally since he was like 16. He's been played with a lot of people. Bucky Pissarelli, Jay Giles, Harry Allen, Howard Alden. He's played with a lot of people.
I'm
proud of him. He plays great.
I want an extended version of Under My Thumb. Trivia question. Was that Nicky Hopkins on Vibes?
To tell you the truth, it probably was, I think.
I always loved the vibes in that song. I thought they really made... It's a great song anyway.
My favorite Stones record is that one with, Nicky Hopkins plays piano, and it's got all the blues guys from Chicago on it. I can't think of the name of it. It's got a really cool cover, too. Like, when there were albums instead of CDs.
2120 Michigan Avenue?
No, that's the other one I like. There's one other, oh, man. Howlin' Wolf was on it. You just made me think of it when you said Nicky Hopkins on Vibes, which I know he's played piano, too. My son plays piano also, so most Vibes players do play piano. So,
in the trio, is your son part of the trio, or is it four of you?
It's a quintet at the Regatta Bar. It's my trio. Gary Johnson on drums, Jesse Williams on bass, myself on guitar. My son and Harry Allen are special guests. So we have my son on vibes with a bunch of tunes, and we have Harry on a bunch of tunes.
Oh, so will you be playing Sonny on Saturday night?
You know, it's funny. Me and Harry have recorded that, so maybe I will. I was just thinking that.
You recorded Sonny?
Yeah, it isn't out yet. Me and Harry did record Sonny last summer.
When did you record it?
Last summer.
Where? In Boston?
At Wellspring Sound and Acton.
Oh, great guy out there, Eric.
Eric Hilburn, one of the best.
I worked with him years and years ago. Boy, he's a nice man. Wellspring Sound. So you recorded Sonny last summer, 2011, at Wellspring Sound with Eric. Eric on the board?
No, we had Tim Kelleher on the board.
Ah. And who else is on the session?
Jesse Williams, Mark Texera on drums. Me and Harry Allen, I think. Yeah, I think that's it.
Mark Texera. I don't know Mark.
He was our Duke Robillard's drummer for years.
Oh, okay.
Great drummer, Joe.
He's on drums, and Harry Allen's on what?
Saxophone.
I should know that. And on bass, you've got? Jesse Williams. Because I'm going to put this on the Bobby Hebb blog when you give me permission.
Oh, sure, no problem at all. We just haven't had a chance to go mix it. We've all been so busy. I haven't had a chance to go back.
Oh, if you don't mind, and I shouldn't put you on the spot, I'll email you. You don't have to answer this, but I will come with a video camera while you're mixing if you want.
Oh, sure, no problem at all.
Oh, because, the Bobby Hebb fan club is in full swing.
I'm glad to hear that, because he was a great guy.
Well, you're the only name on the sonnythesong.com site that we launched today. There's Bobby Hebb, and it says Gerry Beaudoin will be on Visual Radio tonight.
Oh, that's quite an honor. Thank you.
Well, you knew Bobby, so let's go to that part of your life. You played gigs with Bobby.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, Nat Simpkins, the sax player up in North Shore.
Great guy.
Great guy. Nat got me. Nat was calling me for some gigs of his own, and one day he called me and said, "We have a gig with this guy if you want to do it." And I said, "Sure, no problem at all." And it was Bobby Hebb. And what amazed me about playing with Bobby is that he wasn't just a singer, guitar player. I mean, we played jazz standards on that gig. We played Out of Nowhere. We played, a lot of great tunes. And he had this big box L5, Gibson L5. And he could play. He could play like Wes Montgomery. He played some really beautiful, octave solos and stuff like that. And I always respected him. I always enjoyed playing with him very much. We did quite a few gigs together. In fact, Nat and I always joked. Nat always called it the Clam Shack Circuit. I'll never forget that.
Because you played up on the North Shore.
All in North Shore and all in the summertime,
Wow.
And he was a great singer, too. I mean, Bobby really could sing. I mean, there's a lot of people who sing, but not many people sing like Bobby. He could really sing.
Boy, I wish I videotaped those gigs. Any audio tapes survive?
If they have, Nat's got them, because I don't. I can tell you that.
We just...
But he was also, and Thomas Hebb, his nephew was on bass on those gigs.
Right, and Tom's a friend. Tom's
I
wonderful.
haven't seen Tommy in years. I called him for a gig about, maybe 6 months ago. He was busy. I hadn't talked to him since those days. But we did gigs all over the North Shore. We did Swampscott, all kinds of places.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Well, I'll tell you, he was a great singer. He was a really good guitar player, and he's a really nice guy. And I always tell anybody I play with, when I play the chords to Sonny, and they say, "Where's the chords?" I say, "Hey, I learned it from the guy that wrote it. These are the chords," because everybody has them wrong.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So on those shows, did you do any of your originals?
Oh no, I was a youngster in those days. I was starting out. He was nice enough to have me on the gigs.
What a great resume piece. Not that you need a resume piece, but you've played with Jay Giles, Bobby Hebb, and
yeah.
Jay Superb. Did I see you? Were you at the Duke Robillard Jay Giles gig up at the Stoneham Theater?
I'm the guy on the video.
I reviewed that show. I was up there for New England.
With my band.
Oh, okay.
And that was a show for PBS.
Did that ever get broadcast?
No, because we released on DVD.
Oh, it's on DVD, huh?
Yeah, it's on DVD.
That was a great night.
Well, Ted Rosdowski did a great piece on it in the Phoenix. And the guy that was producing the show kind of went belly up. And me and Jay put the money up to buy the tape back from him, and we put it up. And it's on Stony Plain out of Canada.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's so nice to know, because that was a really superb night.
Yeah, I watch it once in a while and go, wow, we did okay.
I was there. You did great. So I have seen Gerry Beaudoin.
And it doesn't get any better than Duke Robillard and Jay Giles, I'll tell you that.
Now, did you ever play with, what's the band Duke Robillard was in down in Rhode Island?
Oh, Roomful?
Oh, I love Roomful.
I know all the original guys for a long time. I'm really close friends with Doug James, the Barry player, and real close friends with Rich Latai, the alto player. And me and Richie have been doing gigs together for, 25 years. Richie's on 3 of my records.
I just had Phil Green in here, the engineer from Normandy.
Yeah.
He did a lot of work with Roomful.
Roomful has been my favorite band since I was 13 or 14 years old.
You notice I had to say the Duke Robillard's band, what was it? That's Danny Klein calls it Bluesheimers. When I got to ask you Duke's band, that's really bad, because I've reviewed the band, okay? That's bad.
Hey, Roomful's an institution. They've gone through many incarnations, I guess 60 players, right? Richie's the only original member in the band 40-something years later.
So they're still out there?
A player.
Oh, cool.
And he is one of my favorite people to play with. We've made one, two, three, I think we've made 4 records together. And he and I just went on the road up in, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire. Me and him would pick up rhythm sections for, a couple of days up in May, 3 or 4 days in May. We play a lot together, me and Richie.
Do you play up at York Beach? There's a blues club there on the beach.
Oh, we've played there before, yes. In the blues.
I've never been in there, but I always go by it. It seems really nice.
I was playing at Jonathan's in Algonquin a couple of weeks ago with Jay Giles and Jeff Pitchell. And my son and I went up, and we went early to go to the beach at York, and we had a little snack before we went to Algonquin, which is right around the corner, at Inn of the Blues. And the guy said, we haven't seen you in years. You want to play here? So maybe I'll probably give him a call.
Oh, you should, because that's a nice little trip. I love going up that coast there.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So the Regatta Bar, when's the last time you played there?
Jay and I played there, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, again in July. Me and Jay Giles played there. And now me and Harry Allen are playing Saturday night. The show's at 7:30.
I haven't been there since Pat Martino played there.
I was there that night.
Were you?
Last time he was in town, I was there, Joe.
I videotaped him. In the back, we interviewed him. I don't know if it was the last time, but that was the last time I was there at a Pat Martino show.
Well, I'm pretty sure I was there the last time he played there.
He does Sonny.
Yeah.
A great version. Great.
It's a great tune. That's what's so interesting about it. It's a really great tune.
Well, there's 2 new versions out. There's a dance version from a woman named Sophie, an 18-year-old out of England.
I heard that.
And then there's a new version by another jazz artist. It's a jazz standard now.
Oh, yeah. I pull it out every once in a while because I enjoy playing it. It's got a nice set of changes. It's a pretty tune.
Now, the new album you have out, the name of it is?
The Return.
The Return. How many tracks?
10.
All right. And how long's it been out?
It's been out since, I think, maybe the end of 2011.
So did you record a bunch of tracks, like your next record is some of the holdovers from this?
Oh, no. This record is very interesting because what happened was in 2009, I got really sick.
Sorry.
And I was in the hospital, thank you. I was in the hospital. I had pneumonia and didn't know it for 6 or 8 months.
Oh.
And I was on the road coming home feeling, just not feeling good. And I went to the hospital 3 or 4 times, and they said, there's nothing wrong with you. And I thought, well, there's something wrong here. Well, eventually they figured out I was sick. So I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And when I got out, I had to stay home for 6 months. Couldn't go out. Couldn't go to work. Didn't do any gigs, nothing.
When guys our age tell the doctor there's something wrong, I think they should listen.
Well, don't get me started on healthcare after that experience, please.
I think we're in tune with what's going on. Someone's got to listen.
Well, it's unfortunate that, I don't know, it's unfortunate the way the system works. It's also unfortunate that people drop the ball. And when you're sick and, someone tells you you're not sick, that gets either irritating or frightening, But I got home, and I was so weak after 2 weeks in the hospital that I didn't do anything but just sit on the couch and watch movies. Well, after I watched, every movie on AMC, right?
Okay.
I figured, the hell with it, I might as well practice. And I hadn't practiced in years. I mean, diligently. I played every day, my whole life, but I never really practiced. And I started writing tunes, and before I knew it, I wrote, 30 tunes.
Oh, man, so you were recovering and you were writing tunes.
Yeah. And, I couldn't go anywhere. I got out of the hospital in October of 2009, and they told me I couldn't go anywhere till the spring, so April or May, because if I got, out wet and cold in the wintertime, if the pneumonia come back, they might not be able to get rid of it again.
Oh.
So I was pretty much down for, 5 or 6 months, pretty much.
So you didn't teach during that time?
Pardon?
You couldn't teach during that time?
No. In fact, I was very fortunate that my class got canceled at Quincy College because I was obligated to do it, and it got canceled for one reason or another, and I forget what it was, but I was very lucky that I could stay home that semester, that in the wintertime to stay home.
Now, do you teach at Berkeley as well?
I've done clinics, a lot of clinics at Berkeley, but I don't teach there regularly.
Oh, so Quincy College is where you teach.
Quincy College is where I teach. I've been there. I think I'm starting my 11th or 12th year. I'm not sure how long I've been there. I've been there a while.
And what's your course?
I teach a bunch of courses. I teach a course in the music business that I designed. I teach the history of jazz. I teach the history of rock and roll. Whatever they want me to do, I'll do it. As long as it's not a full. I can't do a full schedule because I have too much other stuff going on.
Right, but that's still cool.
Oh, I enjoy the hell out of it. It was something I never did. We'll get back to that, but I just want to finish about the record. So my first gig back, you ready for this?
Yep.
Is with Harry Allen, the famous saxophone player, who I never met, and Bucky Pizzarelli, the jazz guitar legend, right?
And were you strong enough?
I was physically okay, right? But
Yeah.
I was a little upset that I hadn't played any gigs for 6 months, and all my first gig back is with these heavyweight dudes, right?
And you're feeling rusty or...
I thought I was. I honest to God, I thought I was feeling rusty, okay? And I was playing every day for 6 months, so I was. I said I hadn't done any gigs.
Right.
And it was my band, with Jesse Williams on bass and Wes Harris on drums. That was my drummer at the time. And we hadn't done a gig together since I got sick. We're playing at Showcase Live, and we have to open the show up with these heavyweights. And Karen Allison, the jazz singer, was the headliner on the show, too. And I was driving Jesse and Les crazy. Telling them, we'll do this tune, we'll do this tune, we'll do this tune. And then I said, we'll do this. I mean, I hadn't done a gig in 6 months, and I was like, wow, And I've been playing with Bucky since I was like 19. So that was no big deal, but I didn't know Harry Allen except by reputation. And once we got up there, it was magic. And I'll tell you, Harry and I really hit it off, musically and personally. He's a wonderful person, wonderful guy. And I told my trio that night, I told Les and Jesse, I said, hey, my new record's us and him, meaning Harry Allen. And November 2010, we went in the studio and recorded it. And I wrote 8 tunes out of the 10 that we recorded.
Showcase Live is a beautiful room, so to come back, that's a nice place to come back to.
Yeah, but don't forget, a little scary to come back when your first gig after not playing for 6 months is with Harry Allen, Bucky Pizzarelli, and Karen Allison. I mean, sorry.
Out at the old Foxborough Stadium, of all places, too.
Jay and I just played there the other day.
Really? And how did it go?
It went wonderfully. He and I have played Showcase Live a bunch of times in different incarnations. And we had a great gig June 30th at Showcase Live.
So, Jay Giles is going back out on the road, so you won't be seeing Jay on tour with you for a while.
Jay's not on that tour.
You are kidding me. Oops. Oops.
That's okay, Joe.
I've never heard of such a thing. How can Jay Giles not be in the Jay Giles Band?
I would suggest that you ask them that question.
Right. Sorry. Again, I don't want to put you on the spot. Whoa. Okay.
What I can do is direct you to the Boston Globe.
Thank you. I
On
will.
Thursday, and you can read their side of the story, not Jay's side of the story, their side of the story.
Okay. I mean, now, my brain's going now, but I'm not going to ask you all the questions that are in my brain. I'm just shocked. But anyway.
I think a lot of people are, to tell you the truth.
The Cars with Todd Rundgren. Hey, yeah, Greg Hawkes has been a guest on the show. I think he's a great guy, and I like that idea. If Rick didn't want to play out, you had Elliot and you had Greg, but at least you had everyone's blessing,
One thing I do need you to realize is that it's not that Jay didn't want to play. Like I said, go to the Globe and read their side of the story. Jay hasn't told his side of the story yet. He's too much of a gentleman to tell his side of the story.
So you'll be playing with Jay soon, again.
Oh, yeah. In fact, me and Jay are playing August 4th at the C-Note in, where is that, Hull, I think?
Well, I can honestly tell people, Jay Giles and Gerry Beaudoin are dynamic on stage. It's a brilliant show. So that's the show to go see. That's the tour. That's the real Jay Giles tour. How's that?
Oh, well, what we've done for 20 years together.
You know, Jay is just such a brilliant guy.
This stuff I've never been involved in. I've never been involved with any of that Jay Giles band business, and I do not intend to.
You know, hey, so this new record is, do you have a website?
Yes, on Reverb Nation. If you type in Gerry Beaudoin with a G, Gerry, Beaudoin, Beaudoin, on their search engine, it'll pop up a couple of different Gerry Beaudoin bands, and one is Gerry Beaudoin Trio with Harry Allen. And you can listen to our music. You can see a video of us, me and Harry together.
Oh, good. So just go to Google and put Gerry Beaudoin and Reverb Nation.
Well, I go to ReverbNation.com and then type in my name, and I'll see Reverb Nation's got all these websites for musicians.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
And when you type my name, and you'll see a thing of me and Jay, you'll see a thing of me and Howard Alden, you'll see a thing of me and Harry Allen. If you click on the Harry Allen Gerry Beaudoin Trio thing, you'll see videos, you'll read press about us. It's a great thing. You know, it's a really nice tool to sell your music. It's wonderful.
Now, is there a lot of video on YouTube?
Oh yeah, I've been YouTube to death, to tell you the truth.
Okay, now I got a question for you. When you perform and you see that cell phones go up, do you mind?
No, I don't mind at all. You can't stop it. And the thing is that, the people are trying to, how do I put this?
They're appreciating you.
They're appreciating you by doing that. And, it is kind of disconcerting that people are, putting your name and your likeness and filming you without your permission. But by the same token, hey, in this day and age, nothing you do about that.
Gerry,
if someone starts selling those, well, then I would have an issue.
Right, right. Saturday night, I got to interview Burton Cummings, one of my heroes.
Ah.
The Guess Who, and he's very hard to interview. I interviewed the band. They must have said they enjoyed it because the next thing I knew after the show, we got a Burton Cummings interview. And I haven't even written my review yet, and I go into Google the next day, and the YouTube videos are up already from all the fans.
Yeah, that's the way it goes today.
And, I had interviewed Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, and I asked him, I said, do you like the taping? He hates it, right? So I'm at the show, and at the show, when he goes into Aqualung, there must have been 200 cell phones that go up. Like a forest of cell phones. So what can you do?
No, in today's day and age, if you don't like it, all you got to do is call YouTube and they'll pull it for you.
Right.
What I see on myself on YouTube, I don't really have a problem with, So, and it's also good press.
It's good press, and if you like the performance, you can always clone it and keep it for yourself.
Yeah. In fact, that's how I got one of the things with me and Harry Allen was some guy, taped it and gave it to me, really.
And that's a beautiful thing because then they really show their appreciation for what you're doing.
And also, sometimes you get something really unexpected that you don't really, think was that great. Jay and I played with Joe Louis Walker at the Bull Run.
Oh, nice room.
Yeah, and Joe was fantastic. The three of us had a ball. It was Guitar Wars. It was great. And, I went home saying, wow, I had a good night tonight. And then 2 days later, someone called me and said, hey, you and Joe Louis Walker and Jay are on YouTube. And I watched it. It was really good. So,
It's like you don't even have to bring out a crew anymore.
No, we've had people do that, too. We've had people, come with fancy cameras. But, a lot of these cell phone videos, things are so sophisticated today. The sound is pretty good, and the video is a good picture and that kind of thing. But see, musicians got to get used to the fact, Joe, that it's a different world today.
But the regatta bar is a different animal. I don't think there'll be much videotaping.
No, the regatta doesn't let people talk. The regatta doesn't want your cell phone going off. They don't want to see cell phones, which is nice also, right? And it's going to be a really fun, laid-back night, Saturday, July 28th with me and Harry. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those gigs that for months you just say, I can't wait till this happens. I can't wait till this happens,
It's just 47 hours away, so it's not that far away.
No, in fact, I got to change my strings tomorrow. I'll be home. Someone said to me, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I didn't get a hold of you. I said, "I'll be here all day, changing strings and then breaking them in for Saturday night."
How many guitars do you bring?
Oh, I just bring one.
And do you always change the strings the night before?
No, I change the strings like, yeah, pretty much. For an important gig, I don't change my strings that often. I change my strings like every 6 months.
So what are you playing for guitar, Gerry?
I play a Benedetto custom guitar.
And what are you using for an amp?
I use a Polytone.
Nice.
In fact, I'm getting my own custom amp rig, Joe. Alston Amps wants to make a Gerry Beaudoin model, so I sent them all the specs of what my perfect, wonderful amp of my dreams is, and they're going to make one. They're going to sell it and put my name on it.
That is such an honor.
It certainly is, because I'll tell you, I've been on the road since I was, 18, 19 years old, and I've used everything under the sun when you're on the road, and I would probably say half the time I've been out there, I've got an amp that I can't stand. So, I have pretty good idea of what I like in an amplifier.
So will they give you a bunch of them? You can bring them out and...
No, they told me to give me a couple, for my own use, but, they want me to enter into a business relationship with them where they're going to sell the amp that me and their amp tech designed. It's my ideas. I know what I want. I know what I need. I know what most jazz players need,
Yeah.
I want a small, that's why I use Polytones. I want a small compact package that I get my sound in every night, whether I'm in Canada, Toronto, Vancouver, California, or down the street from my house in Waltham, right? I wanted to be able to get the same sound every night. And, when you're on the road, you can't carry an amp all the time, so you gotta, I was out in California, Jay and I were in California for a week, and they gave us Fender amps, and I had a Fender Deluxe, which I know how to use it, but it's not my favorite amp because it's not really conducive to my sound.
Right.
So I had to play around with it. I used to get to the gigs early and play around with each particular Fender Deluxe that they gave me and say, well, I don't like this, but I got to deal with it tonight. I deal with it, So I think I've learned through the years what my perfect amp would be, And I also hate, I'll tell you right now, I hate all the amps today that got all this garbage on it, I'm a jazz player. I don't need that. But I can't go buy an amp that doesn't have garbage on it brand new. And I just bought a brand new Roland amp. Mm-hmm. And it sounds great on the gig. But I got to be real careful. There's so many buttons on it. If I push something wrong, I'm in trouble.
Do you use many effects? Do you bring pedals or anything?
I have never used an effect since I was in high school.
I figured you didn't.
No.
But I thought I'd ask.
When I play with, screaming blues like with Joe Louis Walker or somebody like that, I let the amp overdrive itself. I don't agree with any of that. I think it just makes the sound. The guitar is such a great sounding instrument by itself. When you start plugging stuff into it, it's not a guitar anymore,
What I did appreciate Saturday night, Mark Farner was on the bill with Burton Cummings, and he did a fantastic Closer to Home, I'm Your Captain.
Oh, yeah.
And he had the wah-wah pedal, and it sounded to me like a real wah-wah pedal. I don't know where he got it, because it sounded like the real thing from 74, 73, whatever.
Well, try 67, 68.
Yeah.
That's when Hendrix used one.
Yeah. But it...
No, that's the kind of... they have these little amplifiers today that give you this huge sound.
Yep.
Like a Marshall. And, they have all these controls on them. And, for a guy being a blues I'm a blues guitar player or a jazz guitar player. Those are my two things, right?
Yep.
So, T-Bone Walker never had any effects. B.B. King never had any effects. And certainly Kenny Burrell never had any effects. So I don't really use them. And all I think they do is just change the sound of the instrument to try to make it sound like something else. And that's stupid. The guitar sounds great just the way it is.
Now, have you played with Kenny Burrell?
No, but I've known him. I played in my living room with him quite a few times.
Okay, because check this out. I had Jimmy Church on the show on July 5th by phone from Nashville. Now, Jimmy Church grew up with Bobby Hebb. And Bobby brought him up to New York to do a song called I Wish. Mickey Baker of Mickey and Sylvia.
Yeah.
Mickey produced it, Kenny Burrell on guitar, Sticks Evans on drums. We had never heard of it. It's a rare Bobby Hebb song. I can email you the link.
I'd love to hear it.
It's amazing, and the manager, and everyone, we're all amazed. We got it up now on the Bobby Hebb blog and on the BobbyHebb.com. But just interviewing Jimmy, and he's telling us that, Kenny Burrell played on the song Bobby wrote for him, and Mickey Baker produced it, and it's like, it languished in the vaults all these years.
And I remember talking to Bobby about, because Kenny's like one of my favorite guitar players.
Okay.
And Kenny was so nice to me when I was a kid. And he used to come to the house for dinner before his gigs, and I'd take him into his gig. And, he and I'd sit in the living room and play in the afternoon and that kind of thing, And Bobby was a real Kenny Burrell fan. He and I talked about that, because at the time that I was working with Bobby is when I first met Kenny.
Oh, okay.
You know?
And now I'm going to send you a link to a Kenny Burrell performance on a Bobby Hebb song.
I can't wait to see that. That's going to be great.
It's called I Wish by Jimmy Church. If you Google it, if you're home, on the computer, it should come up. I Wish Jimmy Church, and it's in YouTube. And it's, it's this amazing find. It was done for Oka Records. OKEH, which was Little Joe Cook's label.
Oh, yeah.
And Columbia never put it out.
Oh, Cook. I knew him, too.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy. He's a friend.
He's still around?
Yeah, he's out in Framingham.
Oh, okay.
He's up there in his 90s, so he doesn't... I really got to get a hold of him. He's a dear friend.
Wow, 90?
He's up there in his 90s, sure.
Oh, my God.
His birthday's around December 28th, but we'd always have the parties in March. He'd have his birthday party in March, but his birthday's in December. Just to keep it away from Christmas, to have another celebration,
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he's great. I videotaped Little Joe.
How's your radio thing doing?
Huh?
How's this radio thing doing for you?
I've been doing this 16 years, so we've interviewed Jodie Foster and Michael Moore, and we have a lot of fun. David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones, had a movie. I do a lot of film directors and talk to musicians like you, and we just have fun.
That's amazing. I can't believe it.
Danny Klein was on years ago when he had Stone Crazy. I got about 640 hours of tape, Gerry, and I probably have the largest Boston rock and roll interview collection of anyone on the planet, right?
Wow.
Think about it. I got Sal from the Stompers and, Fox Pass and Dee Dee Stewart from Berkeley. And I've got everyone, Bobby Hebb. So we just got hours and hours of, when I'm long gone, there'll be time capsules of, someone had to interview the musicians, so I guess it was up to me.
Well, you've done a good job, obviously.
Tonight I got Gerry Beaudoin. After seeing him like 15 years ago, I finally got him on the show.
I still can't get used to that.
No, but we're going to have you on in person, man. I'm in Winchester tonight. But there's stations all over the place. I'm syndicated, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So while I'm talking to you, I've been imprinting the Buzzy Linhart show from last week. I just dubbed up 24 of them that I'll be getting out to the stations. So, if it sounds good enough, I dub them up and send them around to the satellite stations. So,
this whole world, the whole industry is so different than it was when I started. It's unbelievable.
You've got a Waltham station, Waltham Access TV.
Yeah.
They should come out and tape you if you're in the town. Get them to come out to the Regatta Bar so you get it all on tape.
I think I did one years ago for them. Some kind of thing, and I really don't even remember. It was a long time ago.
I think it's important just to document things, get the tape, get the DVD, and keep it on file because look at all this beautiful stuff I have with Bobby Hebb. I taped him, show after show. I go around taping him. So I've got him in Boston. I've got him at the Transportation Building. He did a Martini and Rossi show with Thomas Hebb and Michael Shea. Have you played with Michael Shea?
I know he's a piano player. I've never played with him, but my drummer used to play with him a lot. That's how I know the name.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So he would back up Bobby with Thomas Hebb, of course. And thanks to public access, we have a lot of it taped.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so, it's a library. And It's just, it's like you got to play out on stage. I have to do these interviews. It's just in us, right?
It's funny. It's so hard to get an interview today if you're a jazz musician. It's unbelievable.
I think, with your new disc, you should be on NPR, Terry Gross.
Well, I wouldn't know how to get that done, but I got to tell you, John Garlick from the Phoenix.
Yep.
When the record came out, Harry and I were playing at Scullers last year, and John did this wonderful, wonderful preview in the Boston Phoenix.
Well, that's his job. He's a good guy, John Garelick, and that's what the paper's there for, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I've called the Globe, I've called the Herald, and I couldn't get anything.
They've gotten very strange. Steve Morse left the Globe, you know that.
Oh yeah.
And I'd write to Steve, and I did a DVD with Marty Ballin at the Jefferson Airplane. So my very first show was Marty Ballin, the interview, right?
Wow.
And then I brought him to the Oldies 103 concert, and we taped it, and it's out worldwide on music video distributors. So we took the original visual radio interview, and that's on the DVD. It's kind of cool. It's vintage, And the whole point of this is, yes, Steve Morse wrote me back. He said, Joe, you won't believe it, but the Globe doesn't want to do DVD reviews. They only do CD reviews. They might write up a DVD in an interview. Isn't that odd?
Well, you want something? It's got to the point where my own personal opinion is people our age still buy the paper.
Right.
Kids don't buy the paper.
Right.
My son has never bought a paper as far as I know.
Yeah, it's all online for them.
Or exactly, or we get, like Mike just said, he gets to Phoenix sometime. Well, that's free, right? So, people like us buy the paper, but what does the paper put in for music? They put in music that kids like, or young people like, that don't buy the newspaper. It makes no sense to me.
Well, at least they still have Sarah Rodman and Jim Reed covering, reviews like Harbor Lights and whatever. Even though it's not Harbor Lights anymore, I call it Harbor Lights.
But see, what I'm saying is the jazz musician,
right,
the last person that gets interviewed or gets honored in the paper.
Well, I'm interviewing you, so...
I've been around this town 57 years. I got 50 records out.
Yep.
And I haven't had an interview in the paper, I don't think, in 11 or 12 years, except for that one in the Phoenix with John.
Whoa.
And I've done, how many local high-profile gigs? Well, probably hundreds in that time frame.
That's a real statement, man. That's not cool.
Well, no, it's the way things are going today, I mean, jazz, people have always said jazz is dead. I disagree with that statement. I think jazz is vibrant and alive.
Oh, jazz is in vogue.
Obviously, if you got, people like Esperanza Spalding and Aaron Weinstein and my son, right? You get all these young people playing jazz, then it's not dead. But, I just don't think that, the newspapers look at it. The other thing, my wife, right, she likes oldies. That's her, growing up music, okay?
Right.
30 years of being married, we always had that one oldie station in Boston. And they went out of business 2 weeks ago. I forget the name of it, right?
Oh, WODS, Oldies 103.
Right, you got it. They went out. So the next morning, we woke up to this screaming something. I had no idea what it was.
It's called AMP radio. It's awful.
Shut that off, right? I mean, it was good if you had to get woken up, that this certainly woke you up, right?
Well, it was weird because Oldies sponsored the Burton Cummings Mark Fowler show and then the upcoming Rick Springfield show. And then they pulled the plug on them to make them go after Kiss 108. They're going after Kiss. That's what they're doing.
Well, I don't listen to Kiss. I have no idea what they do. But all I know is for 30 years, or more than 30 years, my wife and I have woken up to that radio station. And, the first day they were out of business, I wanted to throw a shoe at the radio,
Well, your reaction is similar because I think there's millions of fans of Oldies 103. We're being, it's age discrimination. They want that younger audience, and they know that they had an audience with 103. They didn't care. They didn't care about us, and we're a good demographic for the advertisers, right? What's wrong with them? It makes no sense. It's illogical. It's just what corporate radio's doing.
So we have more money than kids. I mean, I know how much money my son has, right? And I know how much money I have, right?
So there you go.
I would think that they want to cater to my age group, but it's something that is so stupid because radio has been going away and going away. I was on the road when that crap was going on with GBH and Eric Jackson and Steve Schwartz.
Yep.
How the hell can GBH not have a jazz shows? That's like unconscionable in my opinion.
It's the same reason that Oldies 103 went off. I think NPR has 4 times the audience of GBH, 90.9 there.
Yeah.
BUR. So what are they doing dividing the market? It's crazy. Because they own both
I
stations.
don't know about that. All I know is that I spent probably from 12 or 13 years old till recently listening to Eric Jackson. In fact, I never met Eric Jackson. Believe that?
Yeah, wow.
The night we had the hurricane, right, last summer in 2011.
Yep.
My wife is gone. My son is gone. I think they were visiting her relatives in New Hampshire or something, right? The lights go out, right? I can't read my book, right? And I thought to myself, hey, got a portable radio downstairs. So I went in the garage and whooshed it around, and I found it, right? And I put on GBH, and Eric Jackson was there. Right?
Now, he's still on, right? He's got...
Yeah, he's still on. The thing is that I was like, this is great. And I sat there in my living room with the fireplace going, a glass of wine, and listened to Eric Jackson till I fell asleep. And I sent Eric an email the next day saying that reminded me of when I was a student at Berkeley. That, I had Eric Jackson on the radio. I'd fall asleep listening to Eric Jackson. I'd come back from gigs listening to Eric Jackson. It was a great thing.
Now, he's on at midnight or something now? They change his hours or...
Yeah, he's on midnight or something like that. Which,
Yeah.
like, unless I'm doing a gig, that's an hour I'm usually asleep.
Right.
Or getting ready to go to sleep. But, it's so weird. I mean, during the day, like when I was a kid and you were a kid, RKO was playing, Jay Giles tunes. And, you turn RKO on in the car and you get, the Cars, you get, Boston, you get the Jay Giles Band, you get Aerosmith, you get, Leonard Skinner, you get Carlos Santana, right? RKO has been talk radio for, 10, 15 years now, maybe?
No, more, 20.
20 years, right?
Yep.
And when I put it on in the car, I listen to it for 10 minutes and I just shut it off because it's just stupidity that they talk about.
Oh, it's awful. And they have, it's corporate radio. I hate to say it because I like Bill Clinton, but Bill Clinton and Ed Markey and their Telecommunications Act of '96, they did this to us. So
Got to have a whole lot more music. I mean,
Yep.
turn the radio on and not have music is stupid.
Yes, it is. Gerry, I got to get you in the studio itself.
Well, when I get a minute, I guess I'm really busy, but when I get a minute, I would love to.
Well, I'll keep in touch, and because we have a movie segment that we're gonna go into now with Frank Dell'Estrito, one of our movie critics, and we do a public domain movie every Friday night. But I'd love to have you in studio somewhere, and we don't have to do it in Winchester. There's plenty of studios around if it maybe fits your schedule,
Hey, you send me an email, we reconnected, that's great, and tell the guy I watched those 1950s public domain movies on the internet.
Oh, cool.
All those horrible science fiction flicks we grew up with.
Well, tomorrow night's The Phantom Planet.
Oh, I've seen it.
That's our movie for tomorrow night, and Gerry, I got to sign off now. The Regatta Bar is this Saturday.
This Saturday, 7:30, me and Harry Allen, and we hope that your fans will come out and see us.
Thanks so much, Gerry. An honor having you on Bobby Hebb's birthday.
Oh, my pleasure, and happy birthday, Bobby. I love you.
Yep, same here.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, and that was Gerry Beaudoin, and we change hats. So notice I'm just like, it's time for Frank. Frank's probably trying to ring me. I will ring him.
talking about movies?
Phantom Planet. I'm sorry about that. I thought I might be calling you earlier, but, I always let the interviews flow.
Oh, no, that's fine, that's fine. Phantom Planet. I must say, I watched this movie last night for the first time in well over 40 years, and I loved it. It's a cheap science fiction movie. The special effects are, by and large, laughable, but for me, it worked. And I think your audience is in for some real enjoyment. It is one of what I call the time machine clones. Remember the time machine, both the novel and the movie version?
Yep.
A traveler goes through time, basically finds a world in distress, helps them out of it, and comes back and tells his story. And that has given rise to no end of science fiction movies. Usually, they're space travelers, not time travelers, who go to some world where miraculously people speak English, and the atmosphere is all right, and gravity is all right. But they find a world in distress and they set it straight. And I made a little list here. These are all from the 1950s, except the Phantom Planet. Missile to the Moon, Catwomen of the Moon, Fire Maidens from Outer Space, World Without End, Queen of Outer Space.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean they're all schlocky movies. Missile to the Moon has almost zero budget. World Without End has a much better budget, but they're all schlocky movies, and all of them have space travelers or time travelers, or in some cases both, who land on the planet, and it's kind of like a Planet of the Apes thing. They wind up in this world, but this is a world in distress, usually a world populated by very beautiful women, by the way, and I can add to that list Abbott and Costello Goes to Mars, and despite the title, they actually don't get to Mars, they get to Venus.
How come they never go to Jupiter and then the gravity's so great? Like you said, the gravity.
I don't know why they don't go to Jupiter. There is a Journey to the Seventh Planet where they went to Uranus. I don't know of any movies where anybody went to Jupiter.
By Jupiter, I mean, it is mind-boggling, but, they were just entertaining us.
That's right. And plus you get away with those days. I mean, I get the educated person knew that. Well, actually, when I was a kid, very little was known about Venus because of those clouds. It wasn't until they could get their sensors through the clouds that they found out it was poisonous and hot and a very unpleasant place. And but the man on the street would accept. He wouldn't right away throw up his hands and say that the gravity, the atmosphere, just doesn't work. And by the way, how come all these people are speaking English?
How do we not know that they don't have a little, transparent bubble like the cone of silence, Get Smart, where they could actually live under the gas?
Maybe. And actually, this movie tonight gets into the astronaut says, you speak English, and the guy goes, no, we're actually communicating another way, but you hear it as English, so they get around it that way.
That's very clever.
Yeah. In tonight's movie, the star is Dean Fredericks, who I was watching him, and I said, I've seen that face so many times that I couldn't place it, and actually I could place it two places. He was in Steve Canyon in a 2-year TV series I used to watch as a kid. And he's a very handsome man, very high, well-chiseled cheekbones. So even though he's blonde, he would don a dark wig and play Indians a lot of the time. Native Americans in a lot of TV series. So he was, if people think he's familiar but can't quite place him, they've probably seen him playing a Native American. If they're old enough, they might remember him as Steve Canyon.
Steve Canyon?
Steve Canyon. He was, maybe I'm too, maybe you're too young to remember who Steve Canyon was. He was a comic strip hero, a fighter pilot, etc. And then his comic strip was turned into a TV series in the late 1950s for 2 seasons. One or two seasons, and then it went off, so it didn't have enough for really a rerun life. So you either saw it then or you didn't see it, though I understand it is out on video now. And another actor in there is Anthony Dexter, who was a Valentino lookalike. So his first movie, or I think it was his second movie, was a starring role for him as a biopic of Valentino. And then he never really did much big time again, but he appeared in a lot of lower budget movies, and this is one of them. And then there's a star from the silent screen, Francis X. Bushman, who my grandmother remembered quite well. She spoke of him. And he was a has-been by 1920. So he was really in the early part of the business. And the only time you'll ever see him in a good-sized role today is he is the villain in the silent Ben-Hur. If you remember the talking Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston, Stephen Boyd was the villain.
That's the one I know.
Yeah, he played Stephen Boyd's role in a silent movie made 1926, which was a big hit. And there's a famous still of him during the chariot race, fighting, slashing the whip on Ben-Hur.
I didn't know there was a silent Ben-Hur.
It was a silent almost anything. It was a big hit, and I guess I've seen it, but I hate to say anything. It's probably been 30 years since I've seen it, so I won't say anything about it. The chariot scene was good, though. I remember that chariot scene was really good. Not there's the one in the 1960 version of Ben-Hur, 59-60. That was stunning. That's one of the greatest sequences in the history of the cinema. But I have fond memories of the silent Ben-Hur, but I haven't seen it for so long.
So Phantom Planet is how long? Do you know how long the film is?
I believe it's 120 minutes. No,
Whoa.
it's less than that. It's 110 minutes, 100 minutes, 110 minutes, something like that.
Almost 2 hours.
No. Wait, I'm thinking of a different movie I watched the other night. It is more like 70 or 80 minutes. Yeah,
All right, yeah.
About 80 minutes, the time you expect from a programmer.
Yeah.
Maybe closer to 70. So it's not a long movie.
Do you think these are the original prints, not cut up too badly?
Well, I don't know what print you have. And on all these public domain movies, you have to be, you get what you pay for, and sometimes the DVD you're buying in the store is actually a copy of a copy of a copy of so-and-so, so-and-so. The print I watched last night was okay. I don't know what you have. You could easily have a better one. I doubt you have a worse one. So, but that's a problem in all these. I watched a silent movie today, an old Bela Lugosi movie from 1925, about the only silent movie he had a really big role in, and the print I saw was miserable. So I hope that's not the only print left. And
I was at Wakefield TV, which is a couple of towns over, and I rejoined so they could air my show again. And they had two big screens in the lobby. And one had like a fuzzy public domain movie, and the other screen had a pristine Andy Griffith show. And the station manager told me the first 2 years of Andy Griffith are available public domain.
all right.
So we can do our
Kenny Thomas let that happen because he was the money behind that. But they're in the public domain.
the first 2 seasons, and it was crisp and clear. So she did say, go out to the stores and try to get them rather than downloading them. So we're going to try to do that with Andy Griffith, and you and I can have an Andy Griffith special, our tribute.
Very good. Andy Griffith died in the past month, I guess.
Yeah.
And they were showing some of the Andy Griffith show, and I really hadn't watched. I'd seen lots of his movies in the recent years, but I really haven't watched his show for a long time, and it was really quite good. And of course, Barney Fife, Don Knotts, is one of the great supporting characters of the history of television, and then you forget how much hair Ron Howard used to have. So I look forward to that. I hope you do it.
Yeah, it would be fun, and we just want to keep presenting great movies here, and it's awesome of Frank to call in and give us his insight on these films. Phantom Planet is tomorrow night. We have about a minute and a half left.
Okay, do we know what next week's movie is?
No, but we will.
Okay.
And
Have you seen the new Batman?
yes, I have.
What do you think?
To me, the Catwoman should have been the villainess.
I could not agree with you more. I was not looking forward to Anne Hathaway as the Catwoman, but I thought she did a very, very good job. I didn't think she had that kind of performance in her.
And if they had sustained her instead of Bane, the movie would have a lot more life.
Yes, I'll be honest, I did not like the movie. I thought Bane got kind of boring.
Yep, he did.
And I thought the movie's very long, and I thought pardon the pun, a cat and mouse game or a bat and mouse game between Batman and Catwoman would have been great. And I thought there was good.
That's what I wrote. You're right.
Yeah, I think there was great chemistry between the two of them.
And I like Joseph Goodwin-Levitt from The Juror. He was 15 in The Juror with Demi Moore, and now he's like 31, and maybe he's the next Robin.
Yeah, I was wondering. They make that. Have you heard anything about them picking up the franchise with Robin movies?
10 seconds left. Justice League of America might film in Boston with Joseph Goodwin-Levitt. That's the rumor.
Okay, doke.
Frank, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.